Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk about why we shouldn't limit ourselves because of circumstances, because of age. Age is not a limit. I started my first small studio when I was 50. I went back to school at 50. I competed and made top 5 at Fitness America for the first time at 50. I wrote not one, but 2 best-selling books at 50. I launched a podcast, started speaking on stages, opened a second studio, and expanded. And let me be clear, God is the reason I was able to do any of it. When I was flat on my back with horrific injuries, 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out, unable to lift a single finger, He showed up. He didn't just show up, He poured vision into me. He reminded me of my mission. And before I ever lifted one finger, God gave me my dream gym. I was flat on my back, unable to do a thing. But God, He was already working. He gave me the very space I once walked past where I used to slave away building someone else's dream. And this time it was mine. It was on the same street, but now I was walking in purpose. This wasn't just a gym. It was a mission field for women to find strength, healing, and sisterhood. Then the world shut down. The pandemic hit. Gyms were closing everywhere, but God helped me expand mine. And of course, my husband has helped me so much with the whole dream, the whole vision, helped me put up the gym, his ingenuity, his engineering, his resources. And I thank God for that. And I stayed afloat without a business plan, outside funding, without anything but faith. While 7 fell at my right and 10,000 at my left, I stood because He was my covering. He was my CEO. And in the middle of that miracle, He opened another door. I was invited to speak, not once, but every single week for 6 weeks at Trisha Brooks' renowned speaker salon in New York City in Lincoln Square, the very same theater and place I once sponsored a TEDx talk. That little girl who once questioned if she was enough, she stood on stages. He held the mic. She delivered the truth, her truth, and she was heard. And that's what I want for all of you guys. I want you to feel seen and heard and valued and know your worth. And because when you walk in your God-given purpose, age is not a limit. Fear is not a stop sign. And no dream is too wild when God writes the story. And then something wild happened. At the age of 60, I didn't slow down. I leveled up, appeared on 6 Times Square billboards with my 7th on the way, graced 8 international magazine covers, featured in 199 countries, was featured on the #1 health show with a reach of 400 million people, was showcased in a magazine with a global reach of 300 million, won Fitness Universe, Fitness America, and Miss Bikini Masters at 60, appeared on national television multiple times. And let's not forget my podcast, Sisterhood of Sweat, which ranks in the top 2% globally and has reached every country and is closing in on 1 million downloads. The little dream, I thought it was a big dream. Let's be clear. I once had of reaching 1 million women. God multiplied it. I've now reached over 700 million people worldwide, but it wasn't always wrapped in a bow. I remember praying, God, maybe this was another dream I had of branching out my podcast with celebrity stories just isn't going to happen before the end of the year. Like I had heard crickets. I remember telling the girls that were on a podcast with me, I'm going to do something different this year. And then it kind of bombed. So when I was thinking about this, I just surrendered it. I thought maybe it isn't to be or it isn't going to happen. Maybe it's not for me. And then you know what? It showed up. Not how I expected, not convenient, not shiny. I almost missed it, you guys. I am famous for running past things. But God whispered, how can you make this work? So I leaned in and I said yes, and the doors flew open. Here's what I've learned. When you walk in your God-given purpose and you put God first in your life, He gives you things beyond your wildest dreams than you could ever imagine or hope for. When you conquer fear with faith, that's pleasing to God. You can't please God without faith, and faith is something that you have to just take a leap into. When you stop waiting for perfect and start moving with passion, age is not a limit. It's not a sign you're running out of time. It's a signal that you're just getting started because every year you gain wisdom, every year you get clearer on your why. That is what drives you, by the way, when you don't feel like it. Every year you get stronger inside and out. So don't let the calendar cage your calling. Some people reach their greatest dreams after 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. If you're above ground, you've still got breath. You've still got purpose. You've still got power. With God on your side, you'll run and you'll not grow weary. You'll walk and not faint. You'll soar on wings like eagles. So take care of this vessel that God gave you. You're important. You're valuable. Make yourself a priority. Good nutrition, movement, supplementation, support from the like-minded women in here because loneliness is the new smoking and it can kill dreams and health. Sisterhood matters. Self-care matters. You matter. Step out, speak up, show up because the world needs your fire. And remember, age is not your limitation, neither is your circumstance. It's your launch pad, a voice of empowerment. Through everything I've overcome, one thing I've learned above all, the power of having a voice. When I reflect on my life, I think about the women I've met along the way and how my mission has always been to help them find their voice. I never want any woman to feel like she isn't seen or isn't worthy of her dreams and isn't heard. You see, my own mother didn't have a voice. She didn't show up in an emotionally supportive way, and I've learned that wasn't her fault. She never had the support she needed to do so. For me, this has become a driving force. It's my mission to help women feel seen, heard, and valued. I want them to know that they are worthy of living the life of their dreams. Their voice was meant to be used, not squelched. I was reminded of this mission when I was given the opportunity to shoot for the cover of Miss Fitness USA at 40. Unfortunately, the digital footage was lost, and I thought that would be the end of my dream. But at 62, I didn't slow down. I leveled up. But first of all, let me just say, I put God first in my life. Let's be clear. That's the reason all this happened. I ended up appearing on 8 magazine covers and New York Times Square billboards. And I can't help but feel that my mom, the one who didn't always understand me, is looking down and cheering me on because she, in her own way, saw me. She saw my worth. And now I get to help other women see theirs. Welcome to Limitless Woman. That's what you are. Love you guys.